All right, and here we are at another office hour for Social Media Pulse community, and I'm super happy to be here with my guest today. And we are running this live on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and all the places. And I appreciate you being here no matter where you're looking in on this today. But we do have a running community conversation for this, and I just want to put this up for you because this is where you would find that conversation. Now, of course, I'm happy to answer any questions you put into any of the social spaces, but if you really want to continue the conversation, then join us over in the community, and that's the little short link right there, and hopefully you'll be able to go find it there. So welcome, welcome, welcome to all of this, and I want to dive right in because I kind of like to get things started like right from the get-go, right? Let's just do this thing. I'd like to welcome everyone to this office hour with a focus on TikTok. We are deep diving into TikTok this particular month, and I'm very happy to introduce our two guests. No matter where you are in your TikTok journey, because we definitely have a range of people in the community from don't even want to touch it all the way over to really doing all the experiments and really working it. So we have that whole range in there. But if you're a solo entrepreneur, a solo social media manager, or you're an agency owner, I think that you'll be able to find something in this conversation today. So hello, Donna and JD. I'm so happy for you to be here. I'm going to take a moment and tell a little bit about you. I'm going to start off telling a little bit, and I want you to fill in the rest of the story because this is kind of fun. So Donna, it has a very interesting background. She spent 15 years casting actors for major networks like Disney, ABC, and Fox. And she might have even discovered a certain Disney star or two. We have to dig into that and find out who that is. And she moved out of that casting chair position and into a coaching role, helping actors and child actors. And this is where she really found that passion for coaching, which I really appreciate. And there are some things that used to rule your life, Donna, and you sort of overcame those things. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that sort of dropped you into this kind of TikTok world?
Well, nice to meet you both and nice to have this conversation. Thank you so much for having me. I came from the casting side, obviously. So I grew up here in Los Angeles. There's like three of us, right? That were grown, raised, born here and stayed here. And I always was very enthralled with how TV was made and how people were on camera. But I didn't want to be an actor. I was never really that person. I also didn't want to be a director or work on the tech side. I just wanted to be where it was happening. I didn't really know what that meant. So I started as an intern in the casting space, and that led to me being one of the youngest casting directors ever on a TV show at 26. Nice. So I was doing that for Disney, Nickelodeon, and then I moved on to all these other networks. Up until I had my second kid, and this was now 2017. And I had now gotten a job as a talent agent. I had a job taking over as the head of the adult theatrical agency side of a very big agency here in Los Angeles. And I realized it just wasn't for me. I was a little bit unenamored by the entertainment industry, and I really still liked the process, the creative process of camera work and people getting behind the camera and all of that. I just didn't really know where that led me to. So I started my own business in 2017, coaching actors. And then I started to really realize, what did I like about it? It wasn't so much the coaching actors. It was more about how to present yourself on camera and how to show up live, how to walk into a room, how to get people to like you and how to get people to warm up to you. It's a lot about charisma and personality. And therefore, that business really grew because I started showing up on camera. I never was someone that ever wanted to be in front of the camera. I struggled with massive anxiety, huge panic attacks. I was really, really, kind of held back because of all of those struggles. But I had a moment in 2018. I was like, if I don't get on camera and start talking to my audience, I'm going to get left behind. And so I kind of had to rip the Band-Aid and stop just showing pictures of my kids and stop showing Canva graphics and start showing up. And so it kind of worked its way out to transitioning to working with entrepreneurs and small business owners, helping them do the same.
That's an awesome story. And it's true, a lot of us have gone through that journey of being behind the scenes and then having opportunity to get on in front of the camera or not, and what those decisions look like. So what you talk about today is going to be very important for people in that position right now. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you being here and telling us that story. JD, now JD found his love of storytelling, and storytelling is a basic foundational block for anything we're doing online these days. So it's really important for that. He found that through the lens of a camera during his time at Oklahoma State University. Okay, everybody, woohoo! Okay.
Go Pokes.
But his life really has an interesting background because he's out on a farm. He was checking, doing livestock and families that feed the world. That was his environment. And so in 2018, he formed Roseman Enterprises, and it's a full service marketing agency sharing the stories of farmers, ranchers, and rural Americans. And literally, it's a huge industry, and a lot of people don't realize it. And so I'm very happy to have you here. So tell me the story of from when you built that agency to how that sort of put you sort of in this arena of TikTok and what we're going to talk about today, JD.
Absolutely. So I to kind of backtrack there, yeah, I grew up on the farm, and then I came to OSU, and I kind of found that love of storytelling through videography and photography and whatnot, which led me to a couple internships, one of them with the American Angus Association, which is a cattle breed association, and then one with the Oklahoma Youth Expo, which is actually where I'm sitting here today. We are the world's largest junior livestock show. That is another part of my job that I do. So I run all of our marketing for the Oklahoma Youth Expo and Cattlemen's Congress, which is the world's largest cattle show in the world. We've launched that 2 years ago. We're coming up on our third show here in January. So that's kind of what brought us into the TikTok stage. I am, unlike Donna, I am not one who gets in front of the camera. I stay behind the camera as much as I can. But for my clients, we put everybody else's faces out there on the world of TikTok and whatnot. And so through OYE and Cattlemen's Congress, we've really jumped into the TikTok space for events and whatnot. And then for other clients that we've got within the agricultural industry there, we're able to kind of share those stories and reformat longer format stories into shorter format versions for TikTok and Reels on Instagram. So that's kind of how my background is. But you won't find me in front of the camera.
Come on, JD. Come on.
I'll take your tips and tricks here, Donna.
You got a face for TikTok.
No, not at all.
So this is great because now we have the full spectrum of everything in terms of TikTok. So I want to jump into this. We have some areas that we'd like to focus on. This whole topic is about TikTok content tips. So we're talking about the actual nitty-gritty of what to put on TikTok. But I want to make sure we start with this foundational thing. So let's start with this. I'll start with you, Donna. So I think we all understand what content looks like on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or YouTube and all that. And most people understand those types of content we see on TikTok as being just a little bit different. So can you kind of tell us a little bit and maybe explain a little bit about short form video, define content on TikTok for us?
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, TikTok, every platform has its own vibe, right? I like to say, there's a certain kind of content that I think can be repurposed across all places. And I do that a lot, but there's also certain content that really doesn't feel right. If you put it on LinkedIn, it's kind of awkward if you put that, but it's perfect for TikTok or maybe for Instagram or YouTube. It's like everything has its place. So TikTok is obviously, it's been around for a few years, and a lot of people really gained fame and following early on, like 2019, 18, 20. 2020 was the year of people consuming TikTok that would never have done it before. Like I remember Gary Vaynerchuk saying back then, get on TikTok. And I was like, you're crazy, because I thought 15-second videos just going to little teens. My little niece was on, she's 14 now. She was 12. She was doing these weird, strange dances. And I was like, that is not where I want to be. We were in Thailand together, and she was knocking people out at restaurants doing these dances. So I thought to myself, I will, it was pandemic time. I'm a mom, and there's all these moms that were getting on TikTok and doing really interesting content, kind of funny content, entertaining. So I would scroll and I would consume. And I think a lot of people are consumers of TikTok,
Yes.
but they're like, that's for that. That's for fun. That's not for business. That's not for me. Something happened at the beginning of 2022 where I finally was like, let's try. Let's see what happens. So just remember that right now we're recording this December 1st. It was February 1st of 2022 that I decided to post I had posted random, like stupid, silly lip syncing type videos, but I decided to take it seriously February 1st. So I realized if I'm going to use TikTok, I'm going to post every single day for 30 days for the month, or 28 days, however many days there were in February that month. And I did. And I started to post shorter videos, longer videos. And the more I posted, the more I realized kind of the vibe there. Well, I've never had growth like I did on TikTok. Within 1 month, I gained, I think, 15,000 followers. Now I'm about 25,000 followers. And I don't even put in as much effort as I did at that time. But that is the cool thing about TikTok, is that you don't realize your people are out there waiting for you. And the cool thing about TikTok, whereas it's not like this on a lot of other platforms, the algorithm serves your content to your dream clients, to your dream customers, because it's such a genius algorithm. And if you're posting consistently about a very kind of aligned niche or similar specific things, it's bam. It's like For You page straight to the person that wants to hire you.
Yeah, so a lot of people complain about the algorithm, but in this case, TikTok's algorithm is a very supportive thing and a great thing to help people find you is true. And so, JD, can you add to that definition of what content is on TikTok?
I think Donna, I think you hit the nail right on the head on that. I think that TikTok is the king of organic content. I mean,
Yes.
it takes us out of that advertiser sponsored posts, all of the stuff that we honestly all get sick of seeing, that we all are the problem, I guess I would say, of what's made Facebook and Instagram. TikTok came in there and said, nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to put advertisers and sponsored content in the hands of true users and true people and real people, and has honestly completely shaken up the influencer game as well too. So I think that's the real cool part about TikTok, is that it is so organic, it's so real, and it's operating in a space that's so different from everything else. So that real life footage, that real life person is able to truly get out there and make an impact across a social platform in a way that you really can't on Facebook, and be able to play in that realm. So I don't know if that's a good definition or not, but that's
No.
kind of the most fun part about TikTok, I think, to be honest.
And if I can jump on to what JD is saying, which is so important. I mean, that is like
Yeah.
the key of TikTok, is it's actually like anti curated content. There are certain accounts that are very like pretty and aesthetic, like travel vlog type stuff, or maybe, young, beautiful 26-year-old Los Angeles model girl. But like most of the stuff that really takes off is really like happen to pull out a camera and catch something that is emotional or funny or just shocking or whatever it is. And that's so cool. We're all on an even playing field on TikTok. Like celebrities actually don't have a leg up on that. In fact, I want to say a lot of celebrities get skewered on TikTok. It's like, don't come into our domain. Stay where you are.
It's very interesting. I remember, this is very funny because there are different people coming to TikTok for different reasons. And this is a great story to illustrate that. Is I went to visit my sister, my 60-year-old sister, and I walked in the door and she said, "You got to come see my TikTok. You got to come see my TikTok." And I'm like, my sister made a TikTok? I was like very confused because she doesn't produce content. And I was like, so she led me out to her backyard and she said, "See, here's my TikTok." And it was a solar powered chandelier that she had learned how to create from a TikTok, but she called it her TikTok.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, there are people who do that. And I realized that people are using TikTok as a type of Pinterest, that they are finding super cool things that people do, and then they recreate them on their own. And so that's a completely different use for TikTok than someone would think, but if you think of it as like a mini Pinterest, you might be very successful there. So
It's
it was a very
it's
funny thing.
it's the new Google for Gen
I know.
Z. I
It
mean,
was
that
so
is
funny.
actually like a real deal thing. And by
Yes.
the way, as a mom that cooks, I am constantly like I use my air fryer often. Do you know, seriously, I'm not joking. When I air fry chicken or like sausage, whatever it is, I go to TikTok.
Yes.
That's how I find my recipes now.
Yes, and so that's how people are using TikTok. So when you're thinking about what content would be appropriate for TikTok for you, you might want to think of it like that. Like, what would people be searching for? So let's get boots on the ground for a minute. I think a lot of people are not sure how to approach creating a TikTok. And this is just like very foundational stuff, which a lot of people stop because they haven't answered this question yet. Do you create inside or outside the app? Like how is it that you get to the creating part? So should they just jump in and just turn that app on, or should they get strategic first? So let's start with Donna and see what your thoughts are on this.
I'm curious what JD's thoughts are. Let's go at one, two, three, go. No, I'm just joking. I think it depends. It depends. There's certain functions that TikTok has that are really, really user friendly and necessary to use within the app. For example, if you're using a specific filter, an effect, a song, a lip syncing, it's harder to take it out of TikTok, create it somewhere else. However, I always recommend to my clients that are doing talking to camera videos. So no effects, no filters, no, special kind of TikTok things like trends. If you're doing an informational value base, which I think every single entrepreneur, solopreneur should be creating, where you're actually just connecting to the camera and talking to your audience, I always recommend use just your camera on your iPhone. And the reason why is because then you have full ownership of it. You have the highest quality of it. And what I like to tell people to do is create something, mess up, say your bad words, look away, flub, whatever. Don't stop the recording. Have a 5-minute long piece of footage, and then you can take it into another editing app. I use InShot for my phone. A lot of people use CapCut. There's various things, but it's super easy. Splice it up, take out all the ums and the uhs and whatever. And then all of a sudden you have this really well paced video. And now you can either caption it outside the app and put it everywhere, or you can, and there's lots of tools that you can do this with, or you can put it just directly onto TikTok. So it really depends on the kind of video, in my opinion.
Great. So what do you think, JD? What about that?
I would absolutely agree with that, because there's a couple people that I work with on my team, incredibly talented. For me, my skill is with a camera in hand, a mirrorless camera, and that's what I run with. I mean, that's my trade. And at the end of the day, I'm an editor. So I like to pull a lot of, if we pull a trending sound in off of TikTok, honestly, I mean, it's a lot of back and forth. It's screen recording that sound, pull that into Premiere, build that video out however I want with that high quality footage that I've got, and then do an auto reframe within Premiere, and then kick out a nice vertical video and whatnot. I've got other teammates that I work with who they are most comfortable at an event shooting on the fly with their iPhone, and they edit right in the app and away they go. So I guess I agree with Dana. It totally depends on what you're trying to capture. If you're at an event and you're trying to get that out in 30 minutes or an hour, shoot it on your phone and edit that thing in the app and sync your sound, and away you go. If you're trying to put out for a lot of my clients, I mean, we'll go out on shoots across the country. And so we've got years and years and years of footage that then we're able to say, oh, hey, I know exactly what clip I want to use with this trending sound, or this whatever that content is that we can fit. And I can go back to 2018 and pull a clip and edit that in Premiere real fast and then throw that up. So it totally depends. It's whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable shooting with an iPhone, do not flip it horizontally, keep it vertical and shoot that and get it out. But if you're comfortable with a DSLR or a mirrorless camera in hand, shoot it. It'll all work just the same. So It's honestly, it's one of those deals where Donna, I kind of was like you. I drug my feet. And one of my coworkers, Caroline, we were at the Oklahoma Youth Expo in 2020. And she goes, if the New York Times can be on TikTok, she goes, Oklahoma Youth Expo can be on TikTok. So I'm like, so
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah, and so it's true. And sometimes it's surprising to see which accounts are on TikTok and which ones aren't on TikTok yet. It's a very interesting study in how people view opportunity. Now, the interesting thing about that is the people who are listening to this, if you're not on TikTok yet, then they just gave you the entire range of ways to get on TikTok, all the way from spontaneous on the phone, inside the app, just go, all the way to structuring and designing and editing and creating something that you want to put up there. So you have all ways available to you to get on TikTok like that.
But I would love to just add really
Sure.
fast, because I think a lot of my clients, and I don't know specifically who's watching this right now, but a lot of my clients are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs that are maybe not the most tech savvy or not the most creative. And I really want to put it out there, because I think a lot of people they go on TikTok, they see what's trending, and they're like, "There's no way! Like, how can I even come up with those kinds of editing and transitions and ideas?" Even, I want to really nail in the idea that you're overthinking it. You're overthinking it, and you're probably making it harder than it needs to be. I love to help people plan their content. And the way I do it is very simplistic. It's almost like if you are currently about to coach a client, what are you talking about? Hey, let's put that into a 3-minute video or a 1-minute video. If you want to, what's a story from your past that we can kind of relate to your audience? Maybe we can talk about a specific, product, whatever. It's very easy if you kind of break it down, but don't get overwhelmed by, look how amazing these people are doing, or how do they do that? Just start by freaking recording. That's the most important thing, is document. So even if you're not planning on posting, I'm like a paparazzi in my life. I'm constantly filming. And it's actually annoying probably to, my husband or friends or whatever, because I'm like, hold on 1 second, we're here. Well, let me put it on camera. I don't post it, but I have it. And now I can use that stock footage to create a TikTok. For example, if you have a podcast, I have a podcast, and yesterday I created a piece of content using a time lapse from April of me just writing something on my, erase board or whatever. It's, a big Post-it. And I use that time lapse, put my podcast audio over it, put a little song on it, put captions, and now you have a TikTok. You don't have to overthink it.
Yeah, and it's very important. Like those of us who have been in the industry for a decade or so, we used to do this for Facebook and for Twitter. And it would be that thing that we did every time we did something. We'd say, oh, well, that's a really nice little condensed little piece of information that somebody might gain benefit from, and we would post it. And then it's the same thing, only in video format. So that whole idea of no matter what it is that you do, there are so many opportunities during your workday and your evening or whatever that you can just record and document and then use it to turn it into something at some point too. It's such a good reminder. A lot of people, especially social media managers who are watching today, are thinking, well, how do I do this for myself, or how do I do this for a client? So in this next kind of conversation section, let's talk about what are the actual steps that you do. And for example, right now, if you were going to create a TikTok for this situation right here, kind of just say step 1, step 2, step 3, what you would do. And I'm going to start with JD for this one. And I'm just going to, because you have that camera start for what you do. And there are a lot of people who use Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve and all of that, and they would do the editing. So can you just kind of take us like a step-by-step of how you would create a TikTok?
Absolutely. So a lot of the times what we're doing is let's just say that we're going to jump on a trending sound of some sort. So we're going to go find that sound on TikTok. And honestly, the easiest way that I found to be able to build that to where your transitions are right, it aligns with the music, because I will screen record that sound on my phone from TikTok. And then I'll take that and I'll import that into Premiere. and then I will build out my sequence with whatever footage I've got. And I build that out as a horizontal video, just like normally, whether it's 4K or 1080p, whatever that needs to be. I build that out horizontally, lay the whole video. Once I am color corrected, everything's where I want it, transitions are right, then I take that, and on that sequence, Premiere a year or two ago started doing, they call it auto reframe, and we can reframe that vertically with a click of a button. It runs a little process over it and fixes most all of that. And then all of a sudden you've got a vertical video that I can then export, airdrop it to my phone, and then post that direct through the TikTok app. So it's a lot of back and forth, but that's the fastest, most accurate way that I can edit on the fly. I get, when I'm sitting there on the slider on my phone, trying to get that transition to line up right there with that music drop, I get a little frustrated. So I jump in here. So I'm back and forth quite a bit on that. But a lot of the time too, whether it is an event or whether we're pulling footage from 2 years ago, 3-4 years ago, whatever it is, all of that's sitting on my server. So it's just easier to dump that back and forth. There's also the opportunity that we do a lot of, I produce a lot of feature videos that will live on YouTube and Facebook for the most part. For those longer format videos, we'll take a lot of those and build mini trailers, essentially, that are 30 seconds to a minute long or whatnot. I try to stay shy of a minute for TikTok and Reels, just because I feel like people get lost pretty quick after that, when it's a very, I'm going to say, highly produced reel video, if that makes sense. So we try to break that up as best we can into topics, whether it's trying to sell a product or we're trying to promote a farm or a ranch or a program of some sort. So we'll take those longer format videos, reformat those to a vertical, and then shorten those up into 30-second kind of sound bites, essentially, and put those out as well. So that's great. There's two different ways that we can kind of go about that, but I am a Premiere guy through and through. So yeah.
All right. Well, I have a technical question to ask about your process. So you screen record the audio so that you can use it in your program, but then when you export it, you just export the video and you don't use the audio in that, right? And then you add the audio in the app.
Correct.
Because it should link up. So that's an important step. Everybody needs to know when they're downloading, you're not downloading the audio at that point. It's just a video.
Correct. Yes. Sorry about yes. Because then that'll go link back up. You'll link that back up, and then that trending sound will help you in your algorithm a little bit. So
that's great. So thank you very much for that step-by-step. So how about you, Donna? Like, what's a typical process look for you or for our client?
Okay, well, I am not a Premiere person. I try to make content creation, like, I think about it, this is going to sound really mean to my mom, but I think about, like, how would I teach my mom how to do it? Right. And the reason why is because my mom is 2 years old, and she is the kind of woman that, like, never remembers how to use anything, and but always wants to. And so I always try to make it as simple as possible, because I think the majority of people, like JD, gets it. Like, he's in the production side, he gets it. But if you're a solopreneur and you are a website designer or a interior designer or a fitness coach or whatever it is that you do, you may not be like an editing genius. And that's it's unfortunate, but we have to become content creators now. Like, it's just the way it is in 2023 and beyond. And so my husband is also, by the way, he's a director of photography and a camera operator here in Los Angeles. And he does, like, all these reality shows, and he has a production house, and he wants to die at the way I create my video. Cause he's like, wait, what kind of light are you? Wait, what? You're using your phone? And he's still like, what are you shooting in vertical video? I'm like, don't mess with my process. Okay. What I do is I always record on my phone, right? Unless I'm repurposing something that I've recorded on Zoom, like if I'm doing something from a podcast, which I'll then put in Canva and make it like put it within a frame and make it like more of a branded type of promotional piece. But usually it's just my phone. And what I find a lot of times with new clients that are struggling, I have them just put up their phone on whether it's a tripod or just lean it against somewhere. Make sure, of course, that you have good light, good audio. Those are hugely important. If you do not have good lighting, that's not a good thing, or audio. So stand in front of a window even, it doesn't matter. And what I really suggest is just, like I said, recording the video and taking it into InShot. Now, most of the videos I create and I tell people to create are not fancy music, like montage type things. It's usually speaking to camera type of content. So an edit is hugely important. What I do with clients a lot of times is if they're virtual and they're uncomfortable on camera, since that's my background, I will sit there and I'll interview them from their laptop or their desktop. Like, I'll be here, but they'll be here. And they're recording to their camera. And I'm like, press record, stop record. They send it all to me. The video first comes to me like, well, I don't know, I think. And then by the time I do that little splicing on InShot, which is my editing app of choice, it's on your phone. It's like $14 a year if you want to remove the watermark, which I really highly suggest you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that app, like, if you just splice all the ums and the uts and you cut it together so that you're speaking fast, you come off as the most confident, expert thought leader. It's incredible what editing can do. I think a lot of people leave those pauses and the mistakes and the looking away from camera and the awkwardness, and that immediately is going to make the audience member feel like they don't really know what they're talking about. So that's really important to me. So I use InShot. I mean, I'm not a Premiere girl. I'm an InShot girl. Should we fight?
No, because I think we'd win probably.
And I'm really happy that you mentioned Canva. Canva has video editing in there now too. So
it does.
Yes. So there are a lot of things inside of Canva now that you can do.
I recorded my whole online course on Canva. I was like really surprised because I did a screen share with my slides. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on in Canva right now. And you can remove backgrounds in videos. So if you want to do a talking head thing and put something else behind you, that you can do that inside of Canva.
Oh, that's also green screen is a huge benefit to using the TikTok app, or now you can do it in Instagram as well too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of potential for all of that. So I'm super happy to hear all of that. There are ways that you can create content for TikTok that makes sense. And it was very interesting to me, Donna, because your process of editing out the ums and the ahs and the looking away and all that is what we learned how to do on YouTube, because in YouTube, when you do those jump cuts on YouTube, that's the same process. And I used to coach people to record themselves and say the thing and then remind themselves what they're supposed to say and then look at the camera and say the thing, and then we just cut everything out. And so those jump cuts made the person look like brilliant and focused and all of that. So that process of editing is something that's been around for a long time. So people don't have to feel like they're learning something new. It's actually a process that's been around, and you can learn how to do this. So I think all of that was just awesome. So I kind of want to challenge you guys a little bit. What was the most complicated TikTok you've ever created? And would you actually do it again, or would you go the more simple route? So I'm going to start with JD again, and because you sound like you look like you remember one.
Well, I don't know if it was the most complicated we've ever done, but it was the most. We beat our head against a brick wall the longest on this one. I think we this last year at the Oklahoma Youth Expo, we had a day where it went from 50 degrees to like 20 degrees and 6 inches of snow. Oh. So we're like, okay, so our target demographic for the Youth Expo are teenagers. We're a youth event, and so we're like, okay, we need to make something funny. So we decided to use the Mele Kalikimaka song and then shoot all this winter footage as like so we're doing
Hawaii.
In Hawaii, exactly. Yeah. Cause then, the other thing it's OYE, and everyone says the joke is, oh, you're going to Hawaii for spring break? No, we're going to OYE. So we made a spoof on that kind of. And so we shot all of this video in 30 minutes. I mean, it was an easy thing, ran out, shot it, edited it, had it done. And then my team, we're sitting there. We're like, this has to have the perfect, the perfect caption. Like, it's got to be. Has a potential to be hundreds of thousands of views. Like, it's gonna go. We know it's gonna go. We spent 3 hours kicking back ideas on this caption, and we finally just pressed send, and we went with it, and it did okay. I think we have 75,000 views, so it's fine. But it wasn't like it was not what we thought it was going to be. So I don't know. I don't know that we would. I think we would absolutely do it again. It was one of those that is the beast of TikTok and social media in general. Of you spend all this time and effort on something, and then it flops, and then you throw something that took 5 seconds to edit and put out, and it's just off to the races. So I don't know. I think the biggest thing I think I took from that is you got to do it. I mean, we're going to have another 4-hour session like that of trying to figure out a caption, but it's just the nature of that beast, I think. So yes, we would do it again. I don't know that it was the most complex video we've ever done. It was definitely the most frustrating, probably. So
I don't think I could sit through a 3-hour conversation on a single caption on a video.
I don't want to do it time soon, Phyllis. That was
I'm reminded of something that this thing, there's some sort of law of something or another for this. I remember my son spent like weeks on a photograph for a photography contest when he was in high school. And then he did something in like 5 minutes, and that's the one that won the state award. And so those things happen, right? So you have to go through them. But what about you, Donna? Is there something you've created that you would like, no, not again?
I mean, I always look back at my content, even if it's cringe, and like, well, that's what the kids say. They say it's so cringe. If it's cringy is what we are used to saying. But my 10-year-old is like, that's cringe, mom. I'm like, but that's not even grammar. I don't even know what you're saying. What I used to love, well, here's the thing about TikTok is like the cool thing about TikTok, whereas you can't really do this on Instagram or LinkedIn or anywhere else, is you can spam it, meaning you can post 1 million times a day. The reason why it works on TikTok and doesn't work, like LinkedIn, there's all these rules, right? If you post within 18 hours, it could ruin the chances of your last post. And Instagram, you don't want to annoy your audience because most of your followers are seeing it. But TikTok, the goal is that it's getting put out to people that don't follow you. So you can kind of have fun. I don't look back at any of my TikToks and say, I would never do that again, even if it's awkward. But exactly what JD just said. The one TikTok that I created that got me 10,000 followers in 1 week, not joking, 1 week, 10,000 followers, was not silly. I mean, it was a really useful tip, but it was so easily done. I just pulled out my camera and I was like, did you know that you can flip your camera on your iPhone? Because a lot of people tell me I don't like recording on the camera on my iPhone because it mirrors me from what I'm used to seeing, like when I'm on Instagram, right? And I do the same, by the way. I hated the way I looked. I always felt so weird when I was selfie recording in the camera app. And it's such a simple setting issue. So I just taught it. I just did a little screen record and a voiceover during that piece. It took me about 15 minutes to create the TikTok. I threw it up there. I didn't think twice about it. This video like changed the trajectory. And it's still, to this day, 8 months later, is getting viewed and liked and commented on. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. That's what the goal is here. Create. And you can't win the lottery unless you're playing the game. You can't win the Super Bowl unless you're actually throwing the ball, right? Like you got to try. And I think that's what the Super Bowl is. No, I'm just joking. So I think the goal is really just throwing your hat in the ring and trying. You never know what's going to work.
You know, those useful, practical tips that can change a person's process or life, those are super important. And I think that you just really hit one of those needs. And I know that for myself, when I see a short form video that shows me a process, it does a screen record and hacks, those hacks are like real. And also on YouTube, some of the best performing videos are, 15 hacks on Instagram or whatever. So I think that that's a very good thing. If you're trying to think, listening to all of this, if you're thinking strategically about your own business, especially if you're a social media manager, what are those hacks that you use on a regular basis that you probably, not a lot of people know about? Just record those and put those up on TikTok. I think. And I will say,
and I think this is really important too. You can find someone else's video. So a TikTok coach once that I interviewed gave me this really great tip. Because TikTok is great as a search engine, right? So if you're a social media manager and you're looking for videos that are really taking off or doing well, you can put in the search bar, social media hacks or whatever. The videos that are popping up as the top liked ones or the top, it's not even viewed, but they come up first in the search just because of SEO purposes. Watch them. If they're teaching something, you can now take that exact content, not copy it word for word. And obviously you're going to use yourself, but like, it's okay to get inspired by other content. It's okay as long as you make it your own. If someone said this is my tried and true Donna Bowling secret recipe, then don't take it as your own. But if it's like a very kind of basic, like the camera hack, do you know how many times I've seen people now create content with that camera hack since I've done it?
Yes.
I'm not offended. It's okay. It's not like I created it.
That's great. And I think that's a very, very good thing. I'm a big fan of searching out what other people are doing and seeing how they're doing it as inspiration. It's a great process. So thank you very much for that. So what I'd like to do now is a lot of times you need to see, like we just talked about, what other people are doing. And doing that search is a great way to do it. But also I've asked you to bring with you some accounts on TikTok that you really, really, really like. And I'm going to ask Ruth. Ruth is in the comments today. I know you both know Ruth really well, and I appreciate Ruth so much, being the director of all the education in the Academy at Social Media Pulse. And hopefully Ruth has some of these usernames available. And if not, we'll make sure we'll get them in the content in the comments later on after this. But Donna, can you give us a few of your favorite user accounts and why you like them?
Yeah. I mean, I sent them in an email, so now I can't really remember specifically who I said, but I know, one that JD and I both had on our list is my dear friend, Molly McPherson, who I obsess over her content. So she's really interesting. She is a PR, like crisis management professional. And so she has her own career doing that. She speaks, she has clients, and TikTok has exploded for her. And why it is because, and this is the key for anyone out there, taking current events, taking things that are in the media and pop culture or in the news today, and using them with your content are going to be huge because it's just trending, right? It's like in the news. So for example, if there's a Kim Kardashian or the Kanye situation, or, I'm sure she's doing a piece about the Good Morning America co-host. Like, I am sure she's doing all these things. Anytime there's a PR spin on things, she will take it. She'll do either a green screen or a duet or whatever it is. And so she covers the content and she puts her professional PR opinion to it. Every time something breaks in the media, and JD, I don't know if you do this too, I go straight to her page. I'm like, what is she saying? What is Molly saying about it?
Absolutely. Because she's so quick on all of that. And it's such good real life advice that you're just like, that makes sense. Like, why would you my fiance, she's the one who really follows her, but she, when the hurricane hit and whatnot, and she was talking about how people handle how CEOs and bosses would handle that crisis of, okay, no, we need to be in here and working, and just talking about that PR crisis that kind of creates and whatnot. I mean, those were so real that you're just like, as a business owner, it makes you sit there and go, no, you've got to it's so relatable on so many levels that whether you've got a hurricane coming down or somebody's just got a family crisis, it's how you handle that as a business owner is so important to everyone's morale and whatnot. So, I mean, she's got a lot of good, just life advice. I feel like even beyond just the PR side of things. So
that's
absolutely
awesome. So we'll make sure we get her link to TikTok in there. The other one that you had, Donna, was Baked by Melissa.
Baked by Melissa is so she's a cupcake company. Like, she owns a baker, she does these little mini cupcakes that you can order online and they get shipped to you, and they're great gifts. And I've known of her from that. But she went viral earlier this year with her green goddess dressing, which ended up being featured on the Today Show or Good Morning America. She went to one of those shows. Now, who knows if she had a PR person that kind of helped her get on those shows, but it's because the video went viral. And when something goes viral, especially a recipe, which they go viral a lot, recipes like special. There's a lot of TikTok recipes. Like, there was the baked feta and tomato pasta that went viral. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. What else went viral on TikTok food wise? I know that there's been a bunch, but she created this dressing, walked you through it, and it became a staple in my house. I make it all the time. And so I love the way that she talks about food, because I'm a big foodie. Like, I love cooking and watching. I mean, who doesn't like watching people cook and make food? Like, I don't know why I love it. So the way she walks through it, it's very fast. It's very quick. The way she talks, she always shows herself eating it, but There's just an energy about her that every time she posts something, I stop my scroll, I watch it, and I usually make it, which is like, that is a true influencer, that you cook something and
Yes.
I make it.
Yes, and that actually reminds me of a type of short form video that was very intriguing to me. And this is going to sound really silly, but tying scarves in a certain way. And the interesting thing about that is they are built to be watched again, because you see it once and you go, how did they do that? So you have to watch it again, and then, but wait, how did they do that? And then you have to go get your scarf, and then you come back and you watch it 3 more times.
Yeah,
And
they're
you go,
getting so many
ridiculous.
views.
Yes, and so it is a technique for getting views.
Yeah.
So if you have a process in your business, show it in a pace that they understand what's happening, but they maybe have to see it again to really get it. And that's a good strategy for getting those extra looping views on TikTok. So there was one more that you had on here, and that was the Snack Queen.
She's similar in the
W.
Yeah, Snack Queen with the QW. So she's a local mom. She's down in Southern California. But here's the thing, and this is very important. So she also talks about food, and she kind of reviews food that she orders or cooks, which I love it. But that's not why I actually watch her. It's the personal brand behind it. And I think that this is very important. Whatever it is that you're talking about, if you're giving social media tips or business tips or, design tips or food tips, no one cares only about the tips. Like, that may be what will go viral one time. But if you want that really strong connection, if you want that, like, they come back to watch your videos, they search it because it doesn't show up in their feed every day. It's who you are. It's your personality. It's introducing maybe a little bit of your life to it. It's giving stories. And if you're not doing that, then you're just like a talking head, and you lack that connection. So that was why I brought her up, because she talks about food. Like Baked by Melissa, I don't know a lot about her life, right? She's just really good at the recipes. But Snack Queen, like, I went with her to Hawaii on her vacation. Like, I was there and I wanted to see what she was doing. And I saw her and her husband on a date. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a reality show.
Yes, reality show is actually an amazing strategy for certain businesses too. So again, that's another tip for what to look for in your own business. Is it a reality show? Is it your personality, or is it highly informative information that make people go, wow, wow, right? So a long time ago, I developed this whole thing that the only time someone shares something on social is if it's either highly humorous, like just straight up entertaining, funny, or if it's highly informative so that you go, wow, I didn't know that, and you have this urge to share. Or the other one, if it's highly emotional, and that's any emotion. So even if it's sad or you get mad or any of the things, that makes you want to share, and that process is like the holy grail of all of this. So back to JD. So there's a couple more on here, and I see that one of them is also cooking.
Yes. Cooking with Shireen. That's one that my fiance and I really like. It's kind of the same way. I agree, Donna. I've tried so many recipes because they're the ones that you see it and you're like, we have to make that. Like, that just has to be that good. But then you watch her, exactly. It's the same way of, like, she's sassy, she's feisty, she's like, it's entertaining the way she just does all her 1.5 minute long videos. It's just, it's you've got dinner and a show essentially right there in TikTok. So we enjoy her. We bought her darn cookbook. I mean, I think she's by Williams Sonoma and things like that. She's built, like, to go back to her beginning videos, she's just in her home cooking, and then you just slowly see, like, her lighting got better, her transitions got better, all of this, and then all of a sudden she's got a brand new KitchenAid, and she's got a brand new this and a brand new that, and you're just, but it's
and a
like
brand new house that you're paying for. And I'm just
yes, with every view, yes, yeah, but yeah, it's just, I think it goes back to that influencer of, I mean, nobody would have known who the heck she was. I mean, I'm sure she was a great cook somewhere, but we would have never known her. But all of a sudden, Williams Sonoma is paying her and sponsoring all of her content to put this out, and just to use a KitchenAid or just use a roasting pan or whatever it is. I think there's so many options for those small businesses that can turn into something bigger than they ever thought.
Like Elise Myers, right? She came out of nowhere, and now she has so many brand deals. Like, she's making so much money.
Yes.
Yeah. So that whole area of influencers on TikTok, or becoming an influencer on TikTok, I know we're going to be covering in some of the other things. In case that you are just joining us now or just watching us on another thing, I just want to again make the point that we are having conversations on the other social sites where this is being live streamed, but also I would like very much, if you want to continue the conversation, that you join us in the Social Media Pulse community, and that's the link to that, and that would be super helpful if you want to really kind of dig into this whole content and understand opportunities for you or for your business, or even becoming an influencer on TikTok. We will have info about that. So thank you for that. Now I want to take a minute and dive into something a little more serious, and that's I'd like your take on the news and the safety concerns that we keep reading about. I'm going to start with Donna for this one.
So wait, what was the exact question? What are the safety concerns around the
Yeah, what's your take on the news about the safety concerns? And, TikTok every now and again comes up in the news. Oh, they're going to ban it from U.S. markets and all of that. So how do you view all of that?
Okay, so to be 100% honest, I don't take it too seriously. But this is because I believe, when you put something on the internet, you have to assume that you're, obviously it's a public account. If you are a public account, you're putting your information out there. You have to be very, very careful about not sharing anything that is, something that you never want, that you don't want to share. If you don't want to share your kids, do not share your kids. Definitely do not share what school they go to. Don't share even maybe don't show your street and the outside of your house. Like there's a lot of things that people don't act appropriately, or it's kind of common sense, right? But in terms of like the government side or whatever, here's all I can say. I'm going to continue to use the platform knowing that, Big Brother's watching and people are probably accessing God knows what, but I'm going to try to be safe on my end. And then the most important thing is I will not put all my eggs in one basket, and I will make sure to always be growing my email list and always be repurposing. And if TikTok goes away today, I am not worried for a second, because I have so many other my feet and my hands in different, how many feet and hands do I have? But I've got a lot of them in different places.
Thank you. And how about you, JD?
I would agree absolutely with Donna on that, because from an agency standpoint, working with outside brands and whatnot that maybe don't have a face. I mean, I'm the exact same way. I don't worry about it when it comes across that we're going to ban TikTok in the US. All right, if it happens, it happens. But my first and foremost biggest concern is producing good content for my clients and continuing that to keep going out the door and whatnot. So we're going to continue to use it. Exactly. I do want to jump on something, Donna, that you said about growing your own email lists and whatnot. That, especially when iOS came out with the tracking to be able to opt out of tracking and whatnot, and it threw us all into a tailspin all of a sudden. That's been our biggest thing, is, okay, we need to grow our own lists of, whether it's emails, phone numbers, whatever that is. We need to manage our own data and get that away from Facebook's control. They've all got us, and we're all going to still keep advertising. But if we can control our own and have enough, have our fingers in enough pies, then we're not stuck to one platform and all of a sudden up a river without a paddle. So
yes, thank you very much for that. Good insights, and I agree with all of that. I want to take a moment and talk about local Main Street businesses, because there are a lot of social media managers in this community who just do their local restaurants and spas and different things. And so are there certain things to keep in mind if a business only has local geographic audience and wants to gain more foot traffic? Like, how would you use TikTok? How would you use that to be a way for more people to visit the actual physical business? So let's start with you, Donna.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples of this, right? On TikTok, for example, the one that just comes to mind that actually a client turned me on to, and I'm not a tattoo person at all, but it's a tattoo parlor in, I think, Oregon. Like I said, not my kind of content, like not into tattoos really, and I don't live in Oregon, but I follow them now because I get to know the employees, right? So they're so smart about this. We have a window into who the people are that work there. There's personalities that you kind of get to know. The owner of the company, or whoever's actually doing the content, for the most part, they're the face of the content, like the main face. So you start to just like Snack Queen, you don't have to be a person that's into cooking, but you fall in love with the person behind. So that is the best solution, but also something that I noticed that a lot of real estate agents do. I have a lot of real estate clients. So there's a real estate agent that lives down in Newport Beach. That's very specific. That's very niche. Like if you're living in Florida, you're not going to need her, but she showcases the city as a whole. She showcases her favorite coffee shops. So if you're a coffee shop, just say, maybe you showcase the main street or some cool historical locations in that neighborhood. Try to put yourself out there for the person that is maybe moving there soon, or tourists that are going there. Because if I'm going to see, South Carolina, and I put in the city, and now all of a sudden your cute coffee shop comes up because you talk a lot about South Carolina, that is the key, right?
That's great. Those are really good tips for designing content. What about you, JD? In terms of like a local Main Street business, how would you look at strategy for that?
I think that TikTok is absolutely the first and foremost platform that a local business should be on. I mean, it goes back to that influencer deal. And Donna had a great point there of showcasing your town, showcasing that community and all of those assets there. To jump on the real estate deal, Glenda Baker is one that I follow. She's a real estate agent out in, I think, Atlanta. And I have no plans to move to Atlanta, but I follow Glenda because she just tells stories. She tells stories about clients. She tells stories about houses she sold. She tells personal stories, and it's entertainment. It's pure entertainment. But if I ever were to go to be moving to Atlanta and need a house, I'd call Glenda. Like, it's dumb, but that's how she's built such an agent. She's built a huge business, and TikTok she talks about it on her TikTok about how TikTok has grown her business so
tremendously.
Yeah. And it's just is incredible. Coffee shops are absolutely great. There's another one, Kevin Cooney. I follow him. He's got his own coffee line and he's out in the East Coast. 90% of his TikToks have nothing to do with his coffee brand. It's all him and his girlfriend. And it's all pure entertainment. But by gosh, if I ever see his coffee, I'm probably going to buy a bag of it. And I don't even have a coffee pot. I have an espresso now, but I'd probably still buy it just because, it's just kind of, I think that is such an opportunity for a small business. I mean, you don't have the capital to spend that a Fortune 500 company does on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, when they're throwing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month at Facebook and Instagram and things like that, you don't have the money to run against them, nor do you want to run against them. But TikTok's that perfect, cheap avenue to get your name, get your brand out, and develop relationships with people in a way that you never could on any other platform.
Yes, and something very practical that anyone can do is in a TikTok say, hey, if you're ever in Atlanta, stop by, mention my TikTok account, you get a free cup of coffee, whatever, So that way you get people interested in actually coming into your physical space and getting something. It's a very easy thing to do. So I've come to the last part of my prepared questions, but then if Ruth or anyone wants to put some important questions inside from either Facebook or LinkedIn, so that I can see them inside of StreamYard, which, by the way, thank you very much to StreamYard. That's the system we're using for today's live stream. I can answer them, or we can have our guests answer them. Just go ahead and put them in there, and that would be super good. So is there anything else that you'd like to talk about in terms of content, or maybe some final thoughts of encouragement, or something for those who maybe tried to do something on TikTok and it just kind of bombed? And what would you say to people who are in that situation? And let's start with JD on that one.
I think the biggest piece of advice is to just keep at it. I think from an agency standpoint, a lot of the times our biggest struggle, the biggest struggle that I've got with clients are finding that face of the organization. And a lot of the times we don't have a face. I mean, I work with a lot of big corporations that people change in and out, and you don't necessarily have one face of that company. So a lot of it comes into reformatting those longer format videos into short form videos. It's jumping on trending sounds. It's beautiful footage. It's beautiful photos. It's it's finding that niche, whatever it might be. It could be how-to videos, it could be educational videos, it could just be pure entertainment. It totally depends on your audience. The fun part about TikTok is there's an audience for everybody out there. And it's everything from the 16-year-old all the way to the 80, 90-year-old who just happen to land themselves on TikTok, and that we never would have expected them to be there, but they're there in a way that is kind of revolutionary for a social media world. But I think you just have to try it, and it's one of those that it's your success isn't going to be overnight. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's your third TikTok that just takes off and you've got millions of views on it, and other ones it's going to be your 50th, 100th, whatever it might be. But it's a space that is very practical for a lot of people. It is a lot of work from an agency side of things. It's not a quick, oh, let me pull it up in Canva and make this little post and send it out. But I think the reward on TikTok is worth the extra effort that you have to put in, just from the real life interaction that you really truly get from everybody on there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And then Donna, can you wrap that one up too?
Yeah, I think everything that JD said, I agree. I think here's the thing in the social media landscape, all our numbers are public, right? Like all our follower counts, all our likes, all our views. That is very challenging for a lot of us, including myself sometimes, to not compare and to not be like, wait, why is it that I'm creating content that's very similar to this person, but I'm stuck at 122 views and they've got 7,000 for the same kind of video? It is really, truly a game of, see what works, try it, and not everything amazing will work. Great content doesn't always take off, and bad content sometimes really takes off. So you actually it's not an indicator of whether or not you're good at what you do. And it's also not an indicator of whether or not your content is good. And I know a lot of people like to say, don't blame the algorithm, just your content sucks. Well, I don't believe that. I actually have had really good content. I really, truly, because I put the same content on LinkedIn sometimes or Instagram that blows up, and on TikTok it doesn't. So it depends, right? The other thing is, so obviously try not to compare yourself, but really the growth on TikTok is it's not a linear growth. I went through that period where I grew 10,000 followers in 1 week. I thought I'm on my way to 1 million followers, baby. I was like ready to already cash in my check. And then I was stagnant at 20,000 for like 6 weeks. And it's frustrating. Also take your breaks. If you are I deleted TikTok over Thanksgiving weekend because it was PISSING me off. Okay. And I was frustrated with it because I noticed that every time I went on the app, I was feeling bad about myself because my content wasn't doing as well. I said, if it is making me feel bad about myself, I am not putting that in my world right now. And I bring it back so make sure to not just sit there and fall into that comparison doom scroll that we all get into. Consume a little bit, but create. And know that is not an indication or a reflection on who you are, but also come up with good ideas. If I can just throw it out there, I have this process that I help clients plan their content in not a very typical social media manager planning way. It's a very kind of creative way to plan out. And I have a workshop next week that I'm hosting about this to come up with at least 25 video ideas in 90 minutes. It's going to be really, really helpful, very specific to your industry. I think that is so super important to just have a plan, get it out of your head. And then when you're ready to create, just go, like take the leap. I think it's the most important thing we could do.
Yes, that's great. And I like to tell my students and everything that create before you consume is a good habit to get into, because you create first and you get that done, and then you consume and you think about how your next one would be. But you create first. And I think that kind of helps the problem that some people have with just scrolling and never creating anything. So all of these are great points. You guys have been awesome today, and I am super thrilled. I know we have a lot of questions, but I also know we're over the hour. So I'm going to answer the questions inside the community. And again, we really want to make sure that you join us in the community for this. So here again is the link for it. This is where we will be answering questions and doing all the things, and I hope you can join us in there. So thank you very, very much for all your insights and expertise with all of this. It was such a pleasure discussing this with people who are in this all the time and have such expertise. And I'm sure it will help everyone inside the Social Media Pulse community. And so thank you very much. And everybody, let's back to work, right? Let's make some
No.
TikToks today.
I don't want to.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.